guys, it's Angelo, again. Yes, that is correct, I say again, because this is the third video of this week, because Blizzard is certainly giving us no time to take a breather this close before launch, and the Shadow Priest has seen yet another set of changes. Just a couple of hours ago we had gotten some more nerfs to the Shadow Priest, and even though they're not really that detrimental, they're still more than relevant enough for me to cover. We see changes to Mind Devourer, a potency conduit of ours, as well as Rabid Shadows, another potency conduit as well. Now, just a bit of housekeeping as always of course, I'm streaming on Twitch weekdays from 9 AM to 12 PM Central European Time, and then again from 6 PM to 11 PM. I'll most likely be streaming tonight as well, just so that we can actually discuss these changes just a little, so if you have any questions, be sure to catch me there with the link down below. Also, if you wish to stay updated with anything Priest or World of Warcraft related, be sure to join our Discord with the link in the description box below as well. Now, with that being said, and without any further ado, let's actually go right ahead and have a look. Alright, so the summary of these changes will be comparatively short. We'll cover them, as stated before, nonetheless. As always, I will read the changes out for you guys before we then discuss them. Okay. So both of our changes only concern our conduits. Mind Devourer now only increases Mind Blast damage by 5%, down from previously 9%, but still has a 10% chance to make your next Devouring Plague cost no insanity. Also, this 10% chance is fixed. The Mind Blast damage increase has been reduced for each level of the conduit though, accordingly. Mind Devourer was previously only really relevant to use in Mythic Plus, and even there it was not our best choice and struggled to keep its place next to Haunting Apparitions and Dissonant Echoes, at least according to our simulations. This nerf should honestly just bring the conduit more in line on later power levels in order for it not to spike Mind Blast damage to be too high. This will most likely not see a change or a shift in our conduit use at all at the moment. Mind Blast will remain an incredibly powerful tool even without Mind Devourer, but if anything, it's just, well, kind of unfortunate that we will be less inclined using the conduit now, and will therefore have less free Devouring Plague procs, which I personally really enjoyed playing with. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up though, we have the nerf to the potency conduit Rabid Shadows. Rabid Shadows allows for our Mindbender and Shadow Fiend's attack speed to be increased by 12%, which was previously 19%. Interesting here is that these changes do not directly scale with all the power levels of the conduit, but instead are only applied to rank 1 of the conduit and rank 12 of the conduit. And at rank 12, the new value is actually just a buff, but honestly this is just a fix really, because the old value was skewed. Rabid Shadows, even more so than Mind Devourer, hasn't had much use after it and the Shadowflame Prism, as well as Mindbender were nerfed a while back, and this will not change pretty much at all. Rabid Shadows was good when we focused around a heavy Mindbender playstyle, but since that really isn't the case anymore at all, Rabid Shadows will continue to fail at finding footing. However, I do suppose that this slight nerf brings it a little more in line when combining it actually with the Shadowflame Prism. In Mythic Plus, you could potentially make use of the Shadowflame Prism, Rabid Shadows, and Mindbender, and honestly do quite a good amount of damage, but only really in the right circumstances. Now, I know I didn't mention this in the intro of this video, because this actually just came to my mind, but I feel as if it's important for everyone to know as well. So, a couple of days ago, we also had some Covenant changes, even though only very small ones. Pelagos, or rather his Soulbind ability, Let Go of the Past, which is part of the Kyrian Covenant, was nerfed by exactly 1% of versatility increase, and since I've been having so many people asking me about this change, and asking me about the current state of the Covenants in general, I did feel as if I kinda want to get that out in this video as well. So the Pelagos nerf isn't that important ultimately, however, this pretty much just brings the Kyrians slightly more in line with all other Covenants, and now you can pretty much just pick and choose whichever Covenant you will want to play. All Covenants only have a small difference when it comes to their overall maximum damage output, so it is really entirely up to you what you do wish to play. The strongest Covenant to start out with will arguably the Venthyr, but once all of our Covenants will be maxed out, which will be at about 6 weeks into Shadowlands, you will ultimately be able to play any Covenant, with both the Necrolords and the Kyrians doing a little more damage than the Venthyr, but really not that much at all. Considering a margin of error and the actual differences in damage, you should choose whichever covenant you feel grants you the most benefit. Should this change, for example if the Night Fae will see some kind of buff, because those are currently the weakest of the bunch, I will of course be sure to let you know accordingly, but use this knowledge now to go into Shadowlands open-minded. I get this question on stream and in the comments a lot, because I know many of you are a bit nervous and, well, don't want to make the wrong decision of course. You can take my word though that there is ultimately no wrong decision for you to make. Alright guys, without holding you up much longer, this summarizes our most recent changes. I think it's pretty interesting to see that Blizzard dishes out a large amount of changes right before the launch of the expansion pretty much, in order to ensure that the quality of gameplay is given, in this case of course with conduits and with covenants. These changes, and none of the previous changes, will truly see us fall from grace, honestly not at all. The Shadow Priest remains as one of the strongest DPS specs in the game, and we're still able to deal with any situation that is thrown at us. I talk about this on stream a lot, but there's basically no scenario within any aspect of gameplay where the Shadow Priest is not able to respond with its toolkit. Strong AoE with Searing Nightmare and Shadow Crash, strong cleave and single target with Misery, with Auspicious Spirits, Fortress of the Mind and the Hungering Void, multiple Void forms with Surrender to Madness, or strong bursty Void forms with Ancient Madness, the Shadow Priest is probably the most prepared spec out of all to deal with Shadowlands. Whether or not this will remain true, that is if Blizzard doesn't change the numbers too much before we do actually launch, well, that remains to be seen. The only thing I still feel needs some change are our Legendaries. Currently, the discrepancies of the actual benefits and damage output that the Legendaries give us is a bit too high. The Eternal Call to the Void, when it procs, can offer you insane amounts of insanity and very good levels of damage, and this makes the other Legendaries fall behind a bit. I'm honestly a bit disappointed by Talbot's Stratagem, honestly because it is only good in single target, and its synergy with Psychic Link, which is already really bad as well currently, leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not sure if we'll see more legendary changes before launch, but it is a possibility, and I am hoping to see the changes made as just stated accordingly. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Excited for Shadow Priest? Will this be your new main or your recurring one? Honestly, I'd be interested in knowing how you feel. As always guys, a special thanks to my patrons over on Patreon, you guys are awesome. And a special thanks as well to Crit, to Acid Raccoon, Paradise, Neon, Katar, and everyone else over on Twitch that I didn't mention. Trust me, each and every one of you is appreciated. Now, have a good one my friends, get ready for Shadowlands, and I will see you all in the next one.